Welcome to a special fun-filled big game edition of Second City Sports. We live and live in color right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakina McGee, which is she. I am Cindy Brown. Hey, that's me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80, that's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You following Keenan McGee on the Twitter and Akina's going to be in the IG.
Make sure you download that Sports Chicago app today, wherever you get your apps. Make sure you follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast at War on Anchor. We're available on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. Make sure you type this in your search engine boxes on those podcast platforms. You ready? WARR on Anchor. Once again, that's War on Anchor on all podcast platforms. And while you're at it, please give War Media a follow at WARR Media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Once again, War Media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We are unapologetically fun, and we have very definite opinions. If you have any definite opinions during our 2-hour extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio Show, you can always hit us up in the comment section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. But if you decide to troll and or do something stupid, I give Lakina full power to give you fools the beer land beer boot.
Bye-bye.
I love when she says that. But before we begin, we must remind you, especially during this weekend, that you can catch Sports Zone Chicago now on Roku TV. That's right. Celebrate with the squad. Get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now available on Roku TV. If you have a Roku television, just tap on the sports folder and download Sports Zone Chicago through that avenue. If you don't have a Roku television, that's okay. We know you have a bunch of handheld devices laying around, iPad, iPhone, iTouch, your personal PC like Lakina's using right now, or your Chromebook like I'm using right now. Just download the Roku TV app and access Sports Zone Chicago through that avenue. So no more excuses. Celebrate with the squad and get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now on Roku TV, available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, live and on demand.
Anywhere, wherever you want. Also, too, if you want to, check us out, whether it's at 3 in the morning or while you're at lunch, as in right now as we speak, this is lunchtime here in Chicago and the Midwest. So yeah, you can definitely do that. We got a great show for you guys lined up today. We'll talk Bulls and the NBA trade deadline. Now, college hoops, of course, we're going to have our NFL Super Bowl Power Hour with our girl KXRB's Chris, and she'll join us later. So we're going to have game, keys to the game, prop bets, and all that good stuff. So, but first,
As Lakina is getting her audio issues together, we'll start out talking NBA basketball. The Chicago Bulls dropped their record to 26-29 after losing to the Brooklyn Nets last night by the score of 116-105 in front of a national television audience. DeMar DeRozan had 14 points. He struggled shooting the ball from the field. He was only 5 of 13 for 14 points. Zach LaVine carried the day for the Bulls, scoring 38 points, including 16 of 25 shooting. And Ayo Dosunmu had 6 points and 2 rebounds. He struggled shooting from the field. Nikolai Vucevic was in foul trouble. He had 15 points, 17 rebounds. Lakina, we'll get into the trade deadline, their inactivity in just a moment, but just getting this point out of the way from last night's game. The Bulls, I don't know about you, but it looks like they went through the motions through the first 3 quarters. They decided to wake up in the fourth. Brooklyn, yes, there was some pressure on them because this was their first game without Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, since both of them were traded away within 48 hours of each other the last couple of days. But it seemed to me that the Brooklyn Nets wanted them more, and the Bulls walked around like we can turn the switch on and off to beat this team without their 2 big superstars no longer on the team. You cannot win this way in this league. We all talked about what happened last year with this team: bad against the good teams, great against the bad teams, horrible against the good teams. The opposite has happened this year. Lakina, the way the Bulls have been playing, they cannot afford to sleepwalk against anyone.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
what happened there, but yeah, I think that was a little bit crazy. But yeah, well, it didn't help that they were 5 for 26 from 3-point range. They didn't hit their first three till like 8 minutes left in the third, so that's not going to help you. And yeah, the whole switch going on and off thing, and it just kind of felt like they sort of seemed like very lackadaisical and such. I mean, Zach had 38 points. Vooch, even though despite being a foul trouble, had a double-double, and DeRozan had his struggles. He was only 5 for 13 from the field. It just seemed like it was kind of like they were sleepwalking. They thought that maybe especially when they were up by 5, like about 3 minutes left, you thought, okay, now the Bulls have gotten control of this game. That turned out not to be the case. So Dinwiddie, a former Bull, hit a couple of big shots. And Cam Thomas is still doing very well. We'll get to him in a second. He scored 20 points, so he's turned to LeBron.
Only 20? That was normal.
I know. I'll say the last couple of games.
That's normal, I should say.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, Joe Harris had 18 off the bench. So yeah, so it just seems like the Nets won and more than the Bulls did. It seems like all the rumors and such. We'll get to that in a minute, but it just kind of felt like they were just sort of going through the motions, being very lax and not a good showing. They've had some bad losses. This is probably the worst, I would think.
Yeah, you can go down the road, Lakina. We talked about it all season long with the bad losses that this Bulls team has had. The loss in OKC, San Antonio, the Washington Wizards twice, Cleveland in overtime. At the beginning of the calendar year, when Donovan Mitchell dropped 70 on them in overtime. Can we go down the list, please? The New York Knicks being swept. I want to say the 2 games in December. So we can go down the list of them not showing up against bad teams. But you got to know your personnel and know your chemistry from your players at this point, Lakina. I know Billy Donovan's starting to take heat from many fans and a few media members now too, starting to give him some heat. But I don't know if you read, Lakina, and I've been listening to Sports Talk Radio locally these last couple of days very closely, especially around the trade deadline. We'll get to the inactivity in just a moment, but I want to focus in on the Zach LaVine story. Remember that quote-unquote alleged fight that happened in the locker room following that bad loss at Minnesota, which is another bad loss, by the way, back in December. Of course, the Bulls turned it around, but after that, it was a heated exchange between Zach LaVine and many of the players on the team. And remember, before then, he had a problem with head coach Billy Donovan. He was benched for a couple of games, and he was saying that everything was cool and all that. But deep down, he didn't like being benched. And, we all have egos here, but it seems like his has gotten too big, especially after signing that $215 million contract over the summer. Whether you like it or not, pressure is on you to perform and to be a leader of this team. And he hasn't done that. He hasn't matured. I'm not saying people cannot mature later on in life. We all do not grow and mature at the same rate as others do. But to me, Lakina, I'm not going to sit here and say that Zach LaVine is a cancer, but you start to read and hear stories that the team is behind Billy Donovan and Zach LaVine's on the other side. That's a great cause for the division, and that's going to be bad for your team. And it's going to be very important how the Bulls finish this season, despite all these distractions.
I mean, the trade rumors and such. I mean, some the pieces that the trade that was allegedly they were them the Knicks. I'm talking about the Bulls and the Knicks were trying to it just. You weren't going to get good value from him. I mean, I know Evan Fournier. I know Derrick Rose's name. I think Obi Toppin was another name, and I think two or three first-round picks and such. It just the trade just sounded really absurd for it to be true, and it wasn't. I mean, as for the whole thing, I know David Kaplan said on his show with Cap and Jonathan Hood that that he had heard who is this person? I don't know. I mean, like I said, someone at the UC or was it one of the concession people, the janitor, at the locker room was saying something. I mean, I let them know who these sources are, but whatever. But I mean, like, is there a little bit of division? I'm sure there is, but look, they're not winning. They're underachieving. One of the reasons why this is even becoming an issue because they're still three games under 500 as of recording this. That's the only reason why this is becoming a problem. If this was still happening and they were like 29-26 or like maybe had a better record, it wouldn't even be an issue. But now that since they've underachieved, they're three games under, it's a big issue. look. I think the All-Star break can't come fast enough for the Bulls. They can kind of reset, recharge and such. So, like, I've been avoiding sports radio lately because honestly, it's just like I no, y'all are not. Y'all talk about and Barkley was brought up again. Barkley said, "Well, blow it up during the halftime of that TNT because they were on TNT. The Bulls and the Nets were on TNT yesterday. There was no local coverage, not on the TV side anyway." Charles, you said the Warriors were done last year. Don't say I haven't forgotten. I know some folks have, but I haven't. So you can sit down over there, my friend. But yeah. So yeah, it's just like, know what? No, I don't like, hopefully they'll figure it out. And look, I'm not. I mean, all these people that say, "Well, look, blow it up." Okay, you want to be where Orlando is right now? They blew it up like multiple times in the last 15 years, and they're still stuck, where they are. So you guys are not going to be patient with the rebuild. You're not. So the trade, you got the buyout markets out there. We'll talk about that after the break. But yeah, I just don't want to talk about this anymore. So you listen to Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakita McGee, Sydney Brown with you now. As far as the team itself, I mean, like, I think they need to figure out something. Like I said, we'll talk about some of the various big names that are on the buyout market right now that the Bulls could use. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about them anymore. I mean, I don't have the energy and such. And plus, there are better, bigger, better things going on right now in the NBA. So let's go backwards here. Now, of course, we'll talk about that stream. Let's even talk about the trades first too, because I feel like this is sort of like of course, the trade deadline was yesterday. And probably the biggest trade was, and probably unexpected, was the KD to the Suns trade. So that kind of came out of nowhere, especially after, I know there were some people say, isn't there a rule that says that injured players can't be traded? I think they got rid of that rule years ago, so that's why all that we're seeing, like, some of these guys are a little bit banged up. But yeah, how do you think the KD is going to fit for the Suns? Because D Book's back. Thank goodness he couldn't come soon enough, and now this KD trade couldn't have come, quick enough for them.
Yeah, he has additional scoring to that already very good Suns team when healthy. Of course, we saw what Devin Booker did last year for the Suns. He was playing almost that MVP type basketball until the playoffs where he got hurt, and it affected them. They got past New Orleans, but his injury cost them against Dallas. One of the factors that cost them in that series against Dallas last year in that second round. So Kevin Durant takes pressure off of Devin Booker, and let's see what Chris Paul does. He's been injured more this year than he was last year, and if you get a healthy Chris Paul down the stretch and towards the playoffs, that's going to help that team out much more. But as far as Durant is concerned, he's going to help out Phoenix that much more. He's going to be that guy to go get a basket in the last crucial minutes of the game. He likes that pressure. He's hitting big shots before throughout his career, and that's going to free up Devin Booker. And so that pressure is not going to be so much on him. It's going to free Booker up to be more of a scoring threat, because Kevin Durant always commands a double or triple team, and that's going to free up Booker that much more. And it's going to be up to Chris Paul to be that much of a difference maker as far as being a playmaker is concerned. You don't have to carry that second and third tier load of scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's what the Suns get. They get Durant. They get TJ Warren, who returns to the Suns. Of course, he spent the first few years of his career there. They get Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Juan Pablo Valette, who is on their G League roster. They got like 4 first-round picks, a second-round pick, a 2029 first-round pick from Phoenix. One of those second-round pick comes from Milwaukee. That's what the Nets get. And the 2029 second-round pick that they get from Milwaukee. So yeah, a lot of stuff. It was actually a 14 deal. I mean, the Bucks get Jay Crowder and such. So they're, and the Pacers get George Hill, Serge Ibaka, of course, who was released, Jordan Nora, and 3 future second-round picks and cash considerations from Brooklyn. So a lot of pieces were moved during that, and I feel like all 4 of these teams got what they wanted. So I'm thinking, like, what did you think about, like, some of the other stuff? I mean, of course, you got KD, and they get the scoring and such. A solid utility guy off the bench, for TJ Warren. Of course, like I said, he played there. The Bucks get Jay Crowder, a solid 6'7" guy off the bench. The next
he's going to help them, especially he's going to be that third scorer next to Chris Middleton. And heaven forbid that Chris Middleton gets hurt again, Jay Crowder can step into that role and to become the Robin to Giannis Antetokounmpo's Batman. And plus, he's a very good defender too, especially in the perimeter.
Yeah, Bridges could be a guy off the bench too. So yeah, so there's a lot of pieces here, and I think that there's this sense of yeah, maybe they can kind of work with something here. The Pacers get a couple of veteran guys. Of course, Hill goes back to Indiana. Of course, he played there for a few years. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on here too. It's like a lot of pieces there. They go a lot of things that are benefiting from that.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Clippers. Their additions yesterday. They get
Mm-hmm.
Eric Gordon back from the Houston
Yep.
Rockets in exchange for John Wall. I know
Yep.
John Wall. I thought he was going to be an important piece to them coming into the season, but he's been injured off and on, and so he was of no use. And they also shipped out Luke Kennard, but they
Yep.
get back Mason Plumlee is to bolster up their front line. And I thought they was going to keep Reggie Jackson, but they traded him in exchange for Mason
Mm-hmm.
Plumlee in that trade with Charlotte. But speaking of the buyout, and we'll get to this on the flip side of this break, but I think that move with Reggie Jackson shipping him off to the Hornets, I think it could make a big splash to go get Russell Westbrook off the buyer's market.
Yeah, absolutely, and that could be, and that's like I said, we'll go through some of the stuff. Wall's also a name that could be is. I think I heard Danny Green as well. I think he's going to be another guy that's going to be in the buyout market too. I know we're up against it, and we're way past against it, but there was a 14 trade. Of course, Jalen McDaniels. He goes to Philadelphia. Cam Reddish, Matisse Theobald, and Ryan Arcidiacono, and a pick for this first round pick. They go to the Blazers. I think Reddish could be a great, extra guy for Anthony Simmons, and of course, Damian
Mhm.
Lillard. And the Knicks get Josh Hart, of course, a little bit of kind of a Villanova reunion, if you will. He
Mhm.
and Jalen Brunson were part of that team that won a national championship a few years ago. So yeah, nice, sort of a solid, pieces here for everyone involved.
And shout out to the Golden State Warriors bringing back Gary Payton II. Of course, they
Yeah.
lost him in free agency. He got a bigger contract with Portland, but he was sent back to the Warriors in exchange for, I believe, 3 second-round picks.
Yep.
So the Warriors, we thought they were going to be in a conversation for bigger name stars, especially with the injury to Steph Curry. But remember, we talked about him last year again, especially during those couple of games of the finals. Gary Payton II was very good with that energy defensively coming off the bench.
Absolutely, and of course, they get the Pistons get James Wiseman, and the Blazers get Kevin Knox and Sadiq Bey. He goes to the Blazers, so a lot of good trades. Bruno Fernandez, he goes to Atlanta. Justin Holiday goes to Houston. Thomas Bryant, he goes to the Nuggets in a 4-team trade, to say, with the Lakers. Lakers get Mo Bamba and Devin Reed. Bones Highland, they get extra. The Clippers get extra utility guy, and then Magic get Pat Beverly. Oh boy.
He should be on the buyer's market because
He'll probably on the buyer's market.
Yeah, I cannot see him playing 1 minute for Orlando. I don't see that happening.
Right, absolutely, and of course, the Lakers. Of course, they trade Russell Westbrook. The Lakers, they get D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. T-Wolves get Mike Conley, Nikolai Alexander Walker, and 3 second-round picks in the next couple of years through both teams. And the Jazz get, of course, Westbrook, Damian Jones, who is on their G League, and Wanta Scholar Anderson, and a 2027 first-round pick. And I know you're now a Utah Jazz fan, or Buddy Lamont, just mentioned it on the thing, but I can't see Westbrook playing for Utah. I don't think that's happening.
No, that's not happening, and he's going to become, my prediction, he's going to become, he's going to become property of the Los Angeles Clippers, especially they traded away John Wall and Reggie Jackson away yesterday. So if Westbrook doesn't sign with the Clippers, I'll be shaking my head. I know some Bulls fans are saying, oh, they should go get Westbrook. He's not coming here. He's going to decide where his best fits needs are in terms of winning the title. It's not here.
Well, hold that thought, City.
Okay.
We're gonna take a really quick break. Of course, we'll talk a little bit more about that buyout market. The Bulls. My couple of guys could definitely help the Bulls, no doubt. And of course, LeBron breaks the scoring record. We'll talk about that, and also some college hoops as well. A lot happened this week in college too. So busy show. Of course, we'll do our Super Bowl Power Hour at the top. So don't worry, we have not forgotten about that big game. So Lakina McGee's City Brown, Second Seed Sports on Sports of Chicago. More Hoops Talk coming up right after this.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying. These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver. I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Looking for James. He's got it. Looking for James. He's got it. Coming to the end of the third quarter. LeBron James, a shot at history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
That clip is courtesy of TNT and NBA Entertainment. Welcome back to the big game edition of Second City Sports on a Friday. I'm Sid the Kid. That's me. That's Lakina McGee. That is she. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keena McGee on the Twitter and at Keena McGee on the IG.
We have 80 minutes or so left in this extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio Show. You have any questions or comments for us during our NBA College Basketball Power Hour? If you have a comment about the Bulls or LeBron James or the NBA at large, you can hit us up in the comment section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comment section. Lakina will get that up on the screen for you. And just a reminder that you can also catch Sports Zone Chicago on Roku TV. Lakina, we just saw that clip of LeBron James breaking the all-time NBA scoring career record that was once previously held by the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And The Lakers lost the game to the It's not the Golden State Warriors. The Oklahoma City Thunder,
Oklahoma City
133 to 130 on Tuesday. Congratulations to LeBron James. No one thought that the record with Kareem was ever going to be broken. Of course, Kareem broke the record against the Utah Jazz in Las Vegas back in 1984. LeBron James was born a few months later. Right now, Lakina, I don't think it's a stretch to say this, but whoever's going to break that record by LeBron James, assuming that he stays healthy the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to have over 40,000 career points. Whoever's going to break that record hasn't even been born yet. And so LeBron James' record, I think, is going to outlast the time that Kareem's record has been. He held that record. But
yeah.
Here's another thing, and I'll kick it back to you. I'm gonna get on your bad side as far as annoyance. I know that we have a younger generation that listens to our program. They didn't see Michael Jordan play. I respect that. You saw Kobe Bryant. They saw LeBron James play. Some people said Kobe's their Jordan, which I don't have a problem with. Some people said LeBron James was their version of Michael Jordan. I don't have a problem with that item either. But can we stop saying that, especially people our age and older, people have a right to their opinions. I don't care. But come back to me with some logic, please, instead of your feelings. LeBron James is not better than Michael Jordan overall. I'm not saying Michael Jordan was a perfect player or anything like that, like a mythical figure. But just because LeBron James broke that record the other night doesn't mean that he's better than Michael Jordan. Stop it, please. Stop it.
The whole thing is just seemed a little silly to me, and I think we're not going through this whole is MJ better than LeBron and vice versa. We're not doing that. And look, all those guys were better for their own eras. I mean, Kareem was good for his era, of course. He and Wilt, they all came about the same time. I think Wilt had a few years on him. Jordan came along, with Magic and Bird, among others. And then you have LeBron, with Steph and KD and, among those others. So, we're not going to do this whole, because no one's going to, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's right. I'm not going to go through this whole conversation about who's better, LeBron or Jordan. I'm not going to do that because they're both great. Okay. They're both all-time greats. I'm not going to say who's better. No. Y'all want to have the conversation, have at it. I'm not going to be in the middle of it. So if y'all want to, argue until you're blue in the face, I don't care. But look, I know I can recognize greatness when I say it in LeBron. Look, that record that Kareem had held for like 38 years, 10 months, and 2 days. That's how long it's been. And LeBron himself just turned 38 a couple of months ago. So he didn't only his 14th, 100th, and 10th career game. Kareem, did it at 42 and his 1560th career game. So different eras, different parts. LeBron played longer. He didn't play in college. He didn't go to college. He skipped college, went right into the NBA. So look, different eras for everything else and such. So not only did LeBron pass that, but also career points and consecutive games with 10 plus points and most seasons with 1,000 points. Of course, that's how he was able to get past it right away. I mean, look, would have been better if they had won the game. It would have been icing on the cake. Yeah, that would have been great. But excuse me, it is what it is there. But I know some people were saying that, why did they stop the game? And, why did they do that? And I don't, it's just, crazy. But look, that was going to be the plan. I think the only exception was that it was only going to be two, if it was less than a minute left and, the deficit with 6 points in overtime. Everything after that was fair game. So I think folks are, I think we're a little bit out of the skis there. But look, I mean, let's recognize LeBron for what he's accomplished. It can still accomplish too. He can still, we know he's going to play. Can he keep playing until his health as long as his health lets him in? Let's just appreciate what he has done. Now look, I know there are going to be a lot of LeBron haters and such. So it is what is there. But I think I know greatness when I see it, and LeBron is an all-time great.
Speaking of some minor controversy, I'm using air quotes for those listening back on the podcast replay. Did you hear that about the many Lakers fans being mad at Anthony Davis not being one of the first people to congratulate
I saw
LeBron?
That. They made
I read the quote, and he said that he was locked in because the game was more important, and which I get, and he did congratulate him in the locker room after the game. But I'm sorry, I don't need my superstars to put on a quote-unquote clown show, okay?
Right, exactly.
This is me.
I mean, look, he gave LeBron his props. I mean, look, the Thunder, I know they were playing against the Thunder, but they were all sitting there. I didn't hear anybody complain about them. All of them sitting there. They could have jumped up. They could have like clapped and such. I mean, I know the game was more important to them, but look, you guys. None of y'all were born yet when Kareem broke the record, so you could have stood up a little bit there. I didn't hear like one person say that, so I think people need to kind of just stop picking and choosing when to be pissed about. I mean, look, AD gave LeBron his props. So look, I'm sure would they have liked to have won the game? I'm sure they would have, but it is what it is. It's just I think the people who are arguing about who's sitting or who look, Phil Knight was sitting. He was the only one sitting. They had a clip of him, and everybody else had their camera phones. I didn't hear nobody make up a complaint about that. So I know I saw a snapshot with MJ's last shot in NBA. Well, it should have been his last shot in the NBA Finals against the Jazz in '98. There were nobody had their phones. There were no cell phones. Well, not a lot of cell phones.
Thank you.
But to people try to compare the two pictures is just silly. But the same guy did take the picture, so I gotta look up his name. But yeah, that was actually really cool. But yeah, I mean, let's just appreciate the moment for what it was. Stop trying to nitpick and trying to micro manage everything else. Just silly.
I was going to ask you, Lakina, and this goes way beyond the LeBron James moment from the other night, especially in the social media age that we live in. Do we as fans appreciate these moments? I know we want to catch them on our phones, and I'm guilty of it to an extent. I'm doing it really for our jobs and what we do here as far as sports talk is concerned. But do we take things for granted, especially what we carry our cell phones in our hand? We don't truly appreciate it because we're of the generation, Lakina, that we didn't have any cell phones. And we had Polaroid picture, shout out Outcast, but we had the portable cameras, we had the Polaroid pictures, and we took pictures, but we didn't sit there searching for something. We appreciate it for what it was. You had to pay attention. And I think that's gone now. I know the younger generation has grown up with this, so that they didn't live in a world like we did, that we truly had to appreciate and forced to pay attention to things.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, look, I know they appreciate the moment. I guess they wanted to show folks that look, I mean, I was there when LeBron broke the scoring record and such. So this is definitely one of those remember where you were when moments. So yeah, I didn't mind the whole the camera phones. I mean, look, I saw some older folks with camera phones, so it wasn't just the younger people. So I think it's just a little silly to kind of just pick on the younger folks. Now let's go into some other NBA and stuff that happened over the weekend. We'll get into the buyout market stuff in just a second. What caught your attention this weekend in NBA besides?
The Atlanta Hawks keep winning. I know they lost the other night to the New Orleans Pelicans on Tuesday, but they've been playing good ball. But I'm not saying they're not going to need Trae Young down the stretch, because they will, but they keep rolling. And I don't want to go back to the Bulls, but that's one of the many teams the Bulls had to chase down if they want to make it in the play-in tournament. The Knicks keep rolling, and I think they're a little bit better than we all thought coming to the season. They over exceeded my expectations. They get Julius Randle to the All-Star game. Jalen Brunson's a borderline All-Star. We'll see if he gets in, if anybody gets injured between now and next week. So those two teams, the New York Knicks and Atlanta Hawks, have caught my eye. And with all these trades that they're being made, who's really going to take off? I know most people say the Dallas Mavericks. I watched their game, some of it anyway, the other night as Kyrie Irving made his debut at Los Angeles against the Clippers. He looked good. I know Luka Doncic didn't play, but once they get the Doncic back healthy, as we said on our last show on Monday, it takes the pressure off of Luka Doncic. I know both him and Kyrie are both ball handlers, but if Kyrie can take some of that scoring load off of Luka, that's going to help the Dallas Mavericks team that much more. But who's going to be the third scorer for Dallas? I'll ask that again. Will it be Tim Hardaway Jr.? Will it be somebody else? Or somebody else outside Kyrie going to have to step up to have about Luka in the scoring department?
And we'll see if things, though, the honeymoon will be over with too. Like I said, I give it a month, so I know that was a nice win for Dallas against the Clippers. But I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop there, so we'll see what happens there. Of course, not a great week for the Lakers. I mean, they lose to OKC. They also lost to the Bucks last night, so that you wonder, like, you can't wait till some of those guys, Russell, come back and such. We'll see how all of these kind of mesh. There, Phoenix got their first win, and Devin Booker is back. Yay! I mean, you can't come soon enough for them. But Aiden had 35 points, was a season high for him. Book, had 10 points, only played 26 minutes. So I'm sure they're gonna, slowly kind of, get him back. He probably won't see a full game of him until probably after the All-Star break. But a nice win, by Phoenix, something that a win that they really needed desperately.
Yeah. And going back to Wednesday's game, the Boston Celtics beat the Philadelphia 76ers 106-99 in front of a national television audience in Boston Garden, formerly known as Boston Garden, the new Boston Garden. Joel Embiid led Philadelphia 28 points. Derek White led Boston with 18 points. Jason Tatum struggled in one of the few bad games he's had this season. He only had 12 points for the Boston Celtics, shooting 5 for 15, including 1 of 5 from three-point range. But the Celtics get a big win, even though one of their top players didn't have a big night.
Well, I think that's what you want to if you're Boston. So I think this is a good win for Boston. And, Philly, unfortunately, they couldn't hit the shots late when they had to. So that was probably one of the reasons why they lost that game. 146-112. Denver beat Minnesota. Michael Porter Jr. had 30 points, leading the way there on Tuesday in that game. And going back to Monday, the Clippers got a nice win against the Nets, 124-116, and Dallas had a solid showing there, of course, in Kyrie's first. Well, I don't think that was Kyrie's first game, but yeah, 124-111 there. So Luka still nursing that heel injury. We'll get to that update on him in a second. But Golden State beat OKC pretty easily. Cleveland, who didn't make any trades, by the way, 114-91 over Washington. I still think they need a kind of like the extra utility, extra shooter off the bench. Just saying. So we'll see if they can get that in the buyout market. And that's basically like your top games in the NBA.
Yep, and the Sacramento Kings beat the Houston Rockets on Monday, 140-120. The Sacramento Kings get back on track, and they're right in the middle of that pack of the Western Conference. So, and Mike Brown, as I mentioned throughout the season on the show, he's one of the top 3 candidates for head coach of the year. Who would have thought that Sacramento would be in the middle of the pack at the number 3 and the number 4 spot in the Western Conference?
Yeah, they also edged out Houston on Wednesday. I'm not repeating myself. They actually did play back to back. 130-128 there. So so a nice showing by Sacramento. I know they had a couple of pretty solid trades. We'll trade them. We'll see if they can keep it up. But let's go into this weekend's games real quick because I want to talk about the buyout market real fast. Starting tonight, Friday, you got San Antonio and Detroit. A big schedule here. San Antonio, Detroit at 6. Phoenix versus Indiana at 6. The Knicks and Philadelphia at 6:00. Should be a fun one. Charlotte and Boston, I guess they want to show Pablo Panchero. I think that's probably the reason why this game is the first game, the ESPN Friday night doubleheader. Utah and Toronto, and Houston and Miami at 7.
Yeah, right now tonight's schedule, we'll have Minnesota and Memphis at 7:00. The second half of the ESPN doubleheader tonight will feature Cleveland at New Orleans. Also at 9:00, we'll have OKC at Portland as the Trailblazers will host the Thunder. This will be a good one. I'll be tuning to this game later on tonight. The Dallas Mavericks at the Sacramento Kings at 9:00. Wrapping up the Friday night schedule at 9:30. Milwaukee and Los Angeles as the Milwaukee Bucks finish their back-to-back days in LA. This time they'll face the Clippers. That should be a good one as well.
A lot of fun there. We'll definitely be watching that. Tomorrow, Saturday, the NBA TV game at 5. You got Philadelphia and Brooklyn. It should be an interesting one there. Denver and Charlotte as they kick off their East Coast road trip. Miami and Orlando at 6:00. Indiana and the Wizards at 6. And San Antonio and Atlanta at 6:30.
Yeah, also at 6:30 tomorrow, we'll have Utah facing the New York Knicks at MSG. At 7:00, yes, the Bulls will take on the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland. Remember what happened last time back in early January? Donovan Mitchell dropped 71 on the Bulls. Can he do that again? I think he'll drop 45. That's just my personal opinion. So beware of that tomorrow night. Also, the ABC Saturday night game of the week will feature LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers as they'll take on the Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors by the Bay. That's at 7:30. And at 9:00, no, this is not a mistype. This is a back-to-back series between the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings once again to wrap up the Saturday night schedule.
It's is hilarious. We gotta talk about that, Sid, because I don't
I
understand
know,
why they're
I know.
still doing it after a couple. I guess limit the travel to COVID and such. But yeah, Sunday, Memphis and Boston. Could this be an NBA Finals preview? We'll see. That's at 1 o'clock on ABC. You can do that one, Sid.
And wrap it up the Super Bowl Sunday schedule in the NBA. We'll have Detroit at Toronto at 2 o'clock. So a very light schedule for the NBA for Super Bowl Sunday, and that's your schedule for the weekend ahead in the National Basketball Association.
We'll talk about the buyout market with our girl Christine later on. I want to get into some college hoops as you listen to Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown with you. What caught your eye on college hoops this week, Sid?
Northwestern getting back on track with a big win at Ohio State against the Buckeyes. Can we finally start to take them seriously, Lakina? Especially I'm looking at their schedule coming up here. They got some winnable. They got some tough opponents. I know they got the rematch with Indiana coming up. I know they have another tough opponent, I believe, against Purdue next Sunday. And we'll get into their schedule in just a moment. But there was a big win for them the other night on the road. And shout out to Chris Collins, their head coach. We talked about before, Lakina. They talked about being a new culture, being a new attitude compared to what they experienced the last few years. This Northwestern team is tough, especially defensively. And if you have them playing defense all together as a team, we know if you're struggling offensively, if you pick up your defense, it opens your offensive game that much more. So that's what Northwestern is doing right now.
Yeah, it was a nice win by Northwestern. Ohio State, I know they've had a couple of injuries, but they haven't been playing well, so that whole thing kind of manifested there too. And a nice win for Northwestern is probably a win that they desperately needed. Going through some of these games, these are Tuesday's games. UConn getting their revenge on Marquette for beating them a couple of weeks ago. 87-72, I should say. And K-State, the good one, edged out TCU 82-81. IU is starting to kind of get things going they beat Rutgers, 66-60. So, a nice showing there.
Call me crazy real quick,
IU.
Lakina. Yeah, call me crazy, Lakina, especially after what you mentioned Indiana did on Tuesday. Would you put Indiana as the number 2 team in the Big Ten next to Purdue? I would.
Yeah, that might be up there too. So yeah, I think that they could definitely kind of get things going. And like I said, we talked about Trace Jackson Davis. I think he broke a school record. I think for assists. So as long as he's kind of leading the way, they'll be fine. Nevada beat New Mexico for I think the 9th straight time. 77-76. They edged them out in a really good game. So they could probably be a bubble team from the Mountain West. So. Michigan State beat Maryland 63-58, so they're trying to polish out their resume. And of course, Minnesota and Illinois, there are COVID issues in Minnesota's program. That's why they did not play on Tuesday. So it's going to be a quick turnaround for Illinois. We'll get to them in a second. Now, Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt via buzzer beater 66-65. Alabama handles Florida. And West Virginia beat Iowa State 76-71. So they're trying to kind of get into the bubble. They're talking about West Virginia. So this will definitely help them.
Yeah, Juwan Howard and crew, going to Wednesday's action. Juwan Howard and crew, the Michigan Wolverines, they get a 20-point win over the Nebraska Cornhuskers and improve their record to 14-10. Michigan, as we said before, they need to start collecting these wins now, especially after struggling to start the year before conference play. It looks like they're starting to pick it up now. And going back to local action, Southern Illinois picks up an important win, beating UIC by 2 points, 68-66, to keep pace with Drake and Belmont in the top of the Missouri Valley Conference.
Also, Bradley beats Illinois State. So Bradley, they're starting to kind of stay in that top 4. Remember the top 4, especially the way of the Missouri Valley sub. Now the top 4 gets a double bye like the Big Ten. So they're trying to those 2 teams, Bradley and Southern Illinois, they're trying to kind of get in that top 4 so they can get that double bye. So gonna get interesting there in the next few weeks in the Missouri Valley as we're going late into the season. Purdue beat Iowa, pulled away from them 87-73. UCLA, no trouble with Oregon State. These are last night's games. Arizona, no trouble with Cal. And Loyola Marymount beat St. Mary's 78-74 in overtime. So Loyola Marymount, they might, look, they probably have had some big wins. They've beaten both Gonzaga and now Loyola Marymount. And St. Mary's, I should say. So if they sneak into the tournament, could be a big problem for some of those bubble teams. So the Loyola Marymount could definitely be this would be their first time going back to the tournament like 25 years or something like that. So it'd be a long time. So yeah, the name to look out for as you're close to March Madness.
Yep, and like you said, the bubble teams are trying to make their move, while the top teams trying to keep their position. So we'll see what happens as we head into the middle of this month in February, as we get into the schedules for the important games for this upcoming weekend. We'll start with tonight's schedule. On FS1 at 6 o'clock, we'll have number 13 Xavier traveling to Indiana, the state of Indiana, to take on the Butler Bulldogs. Butler is 12-13. Xavier is 19-5 on the year. Xavier is favored by 7.5. I don't think that the Xavier should have a problem, should they? I know it's an in-state rival, but they shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, Butler's been kind of struggling. They're kind of like in a rebuild mode, so I don't think Xavier should have no problem. Couple of important games tonight in the Mountain West Conference: New Mexico and Air Force at 8 o'clock on FS1. Also after that is Fresno State and Nevada on FS1 too. 3 of those 4 teams could be bubble teams, so that's something to look out for there tonight.
All right, and turn into tomorrow's game, Saturday. We'll start out locally at 1 o'clock on FS1. We'll have number 24 Rutgers traveling to Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini. Rutgers is 16-8 on the year. The Illini is 16-7. Lakina, I talked about my concerns with this Illini team on our show on Monday. This Illini team hasn't played within a week since they lost to Iowa last Saturday. Of course, as you mentioned, the Minnesota game got postponed. I think it'll be made up within the next week or so. So Illini has gone a full week without playing. Pay attention to the first 5-10 minutes of the game to see how sharp they are, because Rutgers, even though they lost their last game, they're going to come out firing, trying to take advantage of the long layoff that Illinois has had. So Illinois has got to come out ready to play. I know they're going to have the home court advantage with their fans behind them, but they got to weather the storm in the first 5-10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if they can kind of keep up with that. Now we'll see how they look. It could be a little rust. West Virginia and Texas. Texas home to bounce back for the loss to Kansas on Monday at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Providence and St. John's on the Big Fox Network. Marquette and Georgetown on FS1. NC State home to bounce back from their early week loss. Boston College, coming off a big upset, so they'll see if they can avoid the letdown there. Kansas and Oklahoma on CBS at noon. That's the first.
Let's go, Porter Moser.
Yeah, the fighting Porter Moses, of course. He's getting a little bit of some heat there in Norman, so something to look out for there. And the Iron Bowl, the basketball edition, you got Alabama and Auburn at 1 o'clock on ESPN. That should be a fun one. Number 21. No, go ahead. I think you were. No, I think you and I had the same game in mind.
Okay, at 1 o'clock on ESPN, we'll have number 3 Alabama and Auburn. You said that. UConn, number 21 ranked team in the country. They'll take on number 23, the Creighton Blue Jays, in the Big East battle. That's on Fox at 1 o'clock tomorrow. That should be a fun one. Southern Illinois will face Drake, and that's at 1 p.m. this time on ESPNU. I'll definitely be tuning into that one.
Me too, because it could be big for who gets that number 1 seed in the conference tournament in a few weeks.
Yes, and at the same time on ESPN3, I think our guy Jonathan Hood will be doing this game for USC Radio. The USC Flames, even though they're 10-16 on the year, SIU could use their help. USC will travel to take on Belmont. Belmont 17-9 on the year.
Let's go Flames, for a lot of Southern
yes.
chanting that. Bradley has a big one against Murray State. They host them tomorrow at 1 o'clock, also on ESPN3. So a lot of great games coming up in the Missouri Valley. It's kind of crunch time for them. In the ACC, Clemson and North Carolina on ESPN2 at 1 o'clock.
Yep, and checking in, rolling down the schedules here at 2 o'clock. Well, not 2 o'clock. Let me see. Yeah, 2 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Oral Roberts at 22-4. They'll take on Western Illinois in downstate. That Western Illinois is 15-10 on the year. They had a bad loss the other night, so they need to get back on track. And another team that needs to get back on track, they got blown out in Miami on Monday.
Yes, they did.
The Duke Blue Devils will travel to Virginia to take on the Cavaliers that rank 8th in the country right now. That's at 3 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN in a big ACC battle.
Yeah, that's like their third or fourth loss by 20 plus points. That's the most since Coach K's first couple of seasons. I think
Hmm.
was that I think that was right around Jay Billis and all of them that class started. So that wasn't a good showing there. So hope they can get back on track. Baylor and TCU at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. That should be a fun one. San Diego State against UNLV. They host them at 3 o'clock on the Big Fox Network.
Oh, our Black College Basketball Game of the Week on WGN in Chicago tomorrow will feature Virginia State at Elizabeth City State. That's at 2 o'clock on Channel 9 here in Chicago. So there's some HBCU basketballs you can watch in the Chicagoland area tomorrow.
A lot of fun.
Had to get that out.
Yeah, of course. A lot of fun when they play each other, even on the hoop side too. The Fighting Black Permits, as we call Mizzou, they play Tennessee. Tennessee, I'm sure, want to bounce back from that loss to buzzer beater loss to Vandy. That's at 5 o'clock on the SEC Network. Oklahoma State hoping to polish off their resume. They go on the road to Ames to face Iowa State. That's at 5 o'clock on ESPN2.
And on the Pac-12 Network at 7 o'clock tomorrow, we'll have Arizona State. The Sun Devils will travel to face the UCal Bears. Of course, California's having a bad season at 3-21. Arizona State checks in at 17-8. And scrolling down on ESPN tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, some more Pac-12 basketball. Number 7 UCLA, perhaps one of the top 5 teams in the country, in my opinion, being ranked 7th is but it is what it is. They'll travel to Eugene, Oregon to face the Oregon Ducks. Oregon trying to build their resume. They have a record of 15-10.
Absolutely. And BYU, another team that hoping to polish on the resume. They go on the road to face Gonzaga at 9 o'clock. Colorado and Utah, a couple other bubble teams. That's on FS1 at 9 o'clock. Utah State, another bubble team from the Mountain West. They face San Jose State at 9 o'clock on CBS Sports Network.
In California State rivalry, as we call them, as we'll call it, we'll see. But on ESPNU/ESPN Plus at 9:30 tomorrow, we'll have UC Riverside versus UC Irvine. Both Riverside, the UC Riverside has a 16-9 record, and Irvine has a record of 16-8.
Yeah, I think they're two of the top teams in the Big West Conference, I believe. So, nice showing. But great to see those state rivalries kind of going out of here in California. Now going into Sunday's games, you got Memphis hosting Temple. That's at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Could be a battle of some bubble teams there as well in the American.
Yeah, and the big game on Big Ten Network on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Number 1, Purdue, the Boilermakers will travel to Chicago via Evanston to take on the Northwestern Wildcats. Of course, Purdue is 23-12. The Northwestern Wildcats 17-7. That gym will be packed, and let's see if Northwestern can match Purdue's energy early.
Yeah, keep staying with the Big Ten. And speaking of a couple other bubble teams face each other, you got Michigan State and Ohio State. Ohio State needs this win desperately to get back even in the bubble discussion at noon on CBS.
Yes, and checking out the rest of the schedule for Sunday. Missouri State will face Evansville at 1 o'clock on ESPN Plus. And as of, let's see, another important game as of note here, Wichita State at 500 at 12-12 will host SMU. They're struggling at 9-16. That's on ESPN at 3. So that's the important games for Sunday in college basketball.
All right, so we're gonna take a really quick break. Super quick. I know we're way past it, but we start our Super Bowl Power Hour. We'll have keys to the game, also to prop bets and such. We'll also talk about the NFL Honors Awards that were held last night, also the NFL Hall of Fame. So that class was announced last night as well. So a lot to do still. All NFL, all Super Bowl coming up next. Our girl Christine Manika for KXRB will be joining us a little bit too as well. Second Seed Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Football Power Hour coming up right after this.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're so
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Hi, I'm Tom Brady, the director of DODEA. September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. The simple act of reaching out and caring for those in our communities is something we all can do. Just being there for someone you care about can be a tremendous first step in getting them access to confidential resources and support that they need. It only takes one person and one small act and 1 minute to make a difference. Let's make a difference.
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Second City Sports, the big game edition celebration of Second City Sports, right here in live and living color, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid, that's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80, that's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan McGee on the IG.
We have less than an hour left of this program we call a sports talk radio show extravaganza. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can always hit us up in the comments section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. And just a daily reminder, you can also catch Sports Zone Chicago, now available on Roku TV. This is our football power hour, Lakina. Before we get started previewing the big game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles for the Sunday. Lakina, I want to get your thoughts about, I know you brought up NFL honors last night. We'll get to that as well. But I want to talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinement class for 2023. Your guy, Zach Thomas, finally makes it into the Hall of Fame. Did you check out the video, how he got the message?
I love that video. Of course, Jimmy Johnson, of course, he coached Zach when Coach Johnson was in Miami. That was a really cool moment. You can tell he just got finished working out, and I guess all his family and friends were there. And you saw Jimmy Johnson. They actually have a full video. It's about a little bit over 6 minutes long of all the inductees and how they got their surprises and such. So, but yeah, one of the top defenders in the game. He should have gotten in probably like 3 or 4 years ago, but it is what it is with that. But yeah. Good for him. Look, I would have, but they actually waited till last to mention him, so I was a little bit worried that he wasn't gonna, he wasn't gonna get in this year. Of course, the longtime linebacker from the Dolphins, of course. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him, and this was it for me. So
yeah, and reading off the rest of the list that's going to be joining the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2023 in the month of August in Canton, Ohio. Cornerback and safety Rondé Barber. Coach Don Corio, linebacker Chuck Howley, defensive end and defensive tackle, nose tackle Joe Klecko, defensive back Darrell Revis Island, a cornerback Ken Riley, offensive tackle Joe Thomas from his days with the Cleveland Browns. Of course, we mentioned linebacker Zach Thomas, and linebacker defensive end DeMarcus Ware.
No issues with this list. I know a lot of Bears fans are pissed because Devin Hester didn't get in. Who among the 5 modern day guys, would you have taken out? Would you? You weren't going to take out Rondé Barber. You probably say he should have gotten in a couple of years ago too. I mean, 3-time All Pro. I mean, has a Super Bowl ring to his credit. Went to 5 Pro Bowls. All decades team in the 2000s. I mean, you weren't going to get him off. Darrell Revis. All decades team of the 2010s. Jesus, that makes you feel old. With the 7 Pro Bowls, a couple of first team All Pros, 4 seasons in a row. Joe Thomas, probably one of the most decorated offensive tackles, ever. First team All Pro, 3 times, second team, 3 times, I should say, All Pro team in the 2010s. You weren't going to get him off that. You talked about Zach Thomas, of course, 20.5 sacks, 168 career starts. Of course, a lot of career starts for Joe Thomas as well, no relation. All Pro twice, voted to the Pro Bowl 5 times. DeMarcus Ware, first team All Pro. He's a first ballot, I believe. 3 times, or 4 times, I should say. A second team All Pro 3 times, among his other accomplishments. Who are you going to take out among those 5?
No one, really. No one.
So, and unfortunately, look, this is how they do special teams, guys. I mean, look, Ray Guy, God rest his soul,
I was just getting ready to say, yeah.
25, almost 22 years. Morton Anderson, who's probably one of the most accurate kickers ever, he had to wait about 9 years. So I don't think Heston's going to wait that long. I think he'll get it within the next year or two. If he does, everyone can kind of bitch and moan. But right now, I mean, these 5 guys, on the modern day side were very deserving.
Yeah, wasn't this year number 3 for Hester on the Hall of Fame ballot, if I'm not mistaken? Yes. So he just got on a couple of years ago. So he's going to have to wait. I think he's going to have to wait, like I said, 1 or 2 more years. But he's a definite Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. And he holds the Super Bowl record for having a kickoff return for a touchdown. And he has the most kickoff returns combined punt and kickoff of all time. So he's going to get in. So in the next couple of years, he's going to get in. Was I disappointed for a second hearing that news yesterday? Yes, but I wasn't really surprised.
No, because they were who were going to take out among those 5. I mean, Revis got in first ballot. Joe Thomas got in first ballot. So yeah, you weren't gonna get either one of those guys off. So it's tough there. I know our buddy Lamont just said Joe Klecka was his guy back in the day with the stock exchange. Yeah, you can tell he should have gotten into him. Of course, defensive end. Played a lot of parts on the defense, played nose as well. It was definitely kind of right there with that. Made 4 Pro Bowls, was All Pro twice. So for the Jets, his view was actually pretty funny. Of course, Joe Namath, another Jets Hall of Famer. It was a good day for the Jets. So we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that was a nice showing from him. He's one of the veterans guys. Chuck Halley also too from Dallas. That I know that was from the he also for the Bears too. That was the first couple of seasons with the Bears. People forget. So. And also to the late great Ken Riley. I know Anthony Munoz. He was a corner for Cincinnati for 14 years. I know his son. I think Anthony Munoz has been lobbying for him to get in, so he finally gets in. And also to the coach Don Coryell. I mean, the St. Louis Cardinal coach, San Diego Chargers coach, was part of that Ice Bowl. Not Ice Bowl game, but that crazy game with them in Miami years ago. So he was right there. So you saw a great moment with his daughter and such. So yeah, a lot of great moments there too. So congrats to all of them. And hey, Sid, real quick, check out this list of guys that are going to be up for next season in the Hall of Fame. I'll read to some. I won't read all of them, but Julius Peppers, Antonio Gates, Eric Berry, Brandon Marshall, Hilary Nada, Jamal Charles, Doug Baldwin, Jordy Nelson, Connor Baldwin, Sebastian Janikowski, Kyle Williams, and Andrew Luck are just some of the names that are going to be eligible next year.
I think Julius Peppers will get in. I don't think it's going to be right away. He'll have to wait a couple of years. Andrew Luck is very interesting because maybe people, especially in the media, has held a grudge against it because he quit. He did the Barry Sanders quit right in his prime. Of course, Andrew Luck was concerned about his injuries and whatnot, and he started to get beat up. And some of those media members are still mad about that even years later. Will they hold that against him if for him to be entered into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? I'm doing the Jordan shrug for those listening on the podcast replay, but will they still hold that against him by this time next year? Even if he is worthy of Hall of Fame, I think he's going to get punished unfairly.
Yeah, I feel like
I have nothing against him personally, but I'm just telling you how some of these voters think they're human too, whether they say it out loud or not.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, yeah, the vote in itself is kind of flawed. So I think for people to kind of use, personal stuff against somebody, I still say he's probably gonna have to wait regardless. I feel like so, it is what it is there. I think Peppers probably will get in first ballot. I think that's just me. I kind of feel like he's got the numbers. I think Gates gets in, easily first ballot. I think records and such. So he holds a lot of the Charger records. So I think he gets in first ballot. I'm not sure, but yeah, Hester will probably get in maybe within the next year or two. I think people need to kind of just. I think Nana's probably like one of the guys in that group. I said that he may have to wait a few more years. Probably Eric Berry as well. But yeah, I think there are a couple of those guys that could. I think Gates and Peppers might get in first ballot next year. That's just my opinion.
Another name that you read off that list, interesting, and we saw his time here in Chicago. He was very productive, but. It wasn't a pretty exit when he was released, and that was Brandon Marshall. I know he never played in a playoff game. It wasn't all his fault because some of the teams he played on, but he has some pretty good numbers. But I know he's in media now. He has his own company down in South Florida. I forget what it is. I think he's working with athletes, in training things along that line, I believe. But will they let him in because he was very good in his time, but like I said, some of the off the field stuff, questionable stuff.
Yeah,
I think some of those voters may hold that against him. He might not get in at all.
Yes, I think some of those. I really think that's the thing that might hurt him is because of all that stuff that happened and everything else. I mean, he's been very upfront about his mental issues and stuff, so that could help him a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. But look,
yeah, because it wasn't popular when he started doing it.
Right. So, but it is now. So, how things have changed. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But look, I mean, look at the guys that did not make it. Dwight Freeney, Torrey Holt. I think he's the last of that. Greatest show.
He should be in Torrey Holt. Yeah,
I know that you probably say if that's one person I could probably have a gripe about not getting in. It's him. So Dwight Freeney, I think this is his first year, so I think he might get in next year. Jared Allen, I'm a little surprised, but I guess it's going to be a kind of a Zach Thomas, type of thing where he might not get in until next year. So I mean, look, as far as the Hall of Fame selection is, I mean, it's probably like the most fair out of all of them. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm kind of like looking forward to next year's see what happens there.
You're listening to Second City Sports, a special big game Friday edition right here on Sports Zone Chicago. We're live in living color. Sid Lakina here with you. Lakina, you brought up NFL Honest. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing last night. I did catch some of the highlights. I know we're not Entertainment Tonight or Extra or some of these stupid, goofy entertainment shows, but did you check out Kelly Clarkson's dress?
Yeah,
she had every label of every player from each team. It looked like a bootleg Christmas tree.
It was hilarious that but look, she's a big football fan. She's from just outside Dallas. So I mean that's like I'm not surprised by that, but it was a cool, she did a great moment. Look, I mean, they had some of the players kind of like parry her biggest hits. I mean, Cam Jordan did one of her songs, and Kirk Cousins, I think he kind of missed his call there. He had a pretty good voice there. So, oddly enough. So
I asked Christine about that when she joins us coming up.
Yeah, it was a really good show. I guess I'm sure they'll repeat it. I'm sure the stuff's on YouTube too. So if you guys didn't get a chance to watch it last night, but real quick, we will go through some of the winners and such. Of course, we'll start with comeback player of the year, Geno Smith. I don't think anybody's real shocked with that one. The Jets sweep both the defensive and offensive rookie of the years. Garrett Wilson, let's just say, the wide receiver, and also Sauce Gardner. Both win those awards. Offensive player of the year, Justin Jefferson. Are you okay with do you have a gripe there?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Nick Bosa, of course, from the 49ers, won defensive player of the year. Any gripes there?
No.
Okay. We can jump in. Well, we'll sit. It can be a little bit more.
No, I don't have any gripes here. Like I say, he had a great year, and it's nothing to complain about. You know me, like I cannot make up "quote unquote" fake outrage. That's not me. That's not.
No. I know it's not you, but yeah, but you might have a little bit of a gripe here. How about Brian Dable, of course, the Giants coach, winning Coach of the Year? Do you have any issues with that?
Yes and no. Of course, I know that it was the first time in a few years that the Giants got into the playoffs. So congratulations to him on that. But they only got in with 9. When was the last time the head coach? I think it was the last time the head coach that won the Coach of the Year with less than 10 wins. Off of memory, I'm not on Google. Was Jimmy Johnson back in 1990? He was coaching the Cowboys. Of course, that team ended up 7-9. Of course, 2 years later, they win the whole thing. But he only got Brian Dable only had 9 victories, and no, they didn't win the division. There were some other candidates. Kyle Shanahan. Remember, this is a regular season award, not the playoffs. So let's separate that there. So Kyle Shanahan, I think they had 13 wins this year. And you could have said Kevin O'Connell from Minnesota. Yes, I know many people, including us, expected them to win the division, but I think the way they won their games, I think that's what cost him, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I got why Brian Dable, congratulations to him on winning the award, but there was better candidates out there.
Yeah,
especially they have more victories than him.
Well, yeah, I think because it was the Giants, and I think they won 9 games. No one was expecting them to win that many. That's probably why he ended up winning it. So I think that might have been the reason for it. But like I said, it is what it is. There, of course. Walt Payton Man of the Year was, of course, Dak Prescott. There was really like no losers in that award, but he wins the Walt Payton Man of the Year award for his contributions that what he's done there. It was actually really sweet. So if you guys get a chance to check out that profile. And Pat Mahomes joins an exclusive club. He is, I think, the 9th quarterback to win it multiple times. And you saw the voting. I mean, he only did not have 2 first place votes. I mean, not to say that Mahomes doesn't deserve it, but Jalen Hurts, who was also nominated, I think he gave him some extra motivation for Sunday. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that injury to Jalen Hurts at the end of the season hurt his chances of winning the award. It was almost like that Carson Wentz effect from 2017, the year that Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. How ironic is that? And of course, Nick Foles took over. What happened after that? But Carson Wentz was playing at MVP ball, and of course, he gets hurt. Brady wins the award. That's right. They faced each other in the Super Bowl that same year. So, like you said, Lakina, how ironic said that the same script is happening this year. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. But yeah, I'm like you. I like Patrick Mahomes. I like watching him play. I do not have a hatred bone in my body because for him. And he's a great talent. He's probably going to go down one of the best QBs in his generation when it's all said and done. But I thought Jalen Hurts was the MVP this year.
And Mahomes hoping to avoid this list of guys that won the MVP, but yet end up losing the Super Bowl, I should say. Of course, Kurt Warner in 01, Rich Gannon in 02, 05, Sean Alexander, 07 with Tom Brady. That's the first Giants one that they lost. 09 with Peyton Manning, also 2013 with Peyton Manning. Cam Newton, Peyton Manning got his revenge, in that thing. Matt Ryan in 2016. We all sorry Atlanta fans, and also Tom Brady a few years before that was the Eagles one. So the Eagles actually have done this before with a QB winning the MVP. So hoping to do that again on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the Matt Ryan one in 2016. Of course, we all saw what happened the following day. And it wasn't Matt Ryan's fault. It was offensive coordinator at the time for the Falcons, Kyle Shanahan. Still ended up with that San Francisco job. How ironic is that?
Absolutely. So, of course, we continue our NFL Power Hour. Of course, we'll talk about the big game, the keys to the game, also to prop bets and such. So, there'll be some absurd ones too, coming up next with our girl Christy Manika. She's going to join us in a little bit. But preview Super Bowl 57 coming up right after this. You listen to the Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown. Get your pens and paper ready. So we're going to give you a little bit of bets and some tips right after this.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year.
The This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver. I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Sorry. Welcome back to Second City Sports and our big game preview special right here on Live and in Living Color, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, that's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80.
You follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan McGee on the IG.
And if you have any questions or comments for us regarding the big game, your parties, silly stories, or you want to challenge us with some of our prior bets we want to give out to you guys in a few minutes, you can always hit us up in the comment section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. Now it's time to bring out our homegirl, even though this is the last game of the football season. She's our homegirl from KXRB Radio in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Here comes the one, the only Christine, the Queen, Manika. What's up, Christine?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Oh,
we doing great.
Busy,
How about
busy,
yourself?
Busy. How about you?
Busy.
No, it's fine. Look, you're here now, so and that's the important thing. You're just in time for this preview this game, of course, between the Chiefs and the Eagles at Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. Now, this will be on the Fox network, of course, and of course, I'm sure it's going to be streaming in various places around the country and the world too. So, look, there are other places you can go to, but well, I'll start with you, Sid. What are your keys to the game?
For Kansas City is to run the football and run the football hard with Isaiah Pacquiao and Jarrett McKinnon. and still take the pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, especially with that ankle, even though he has had time to rest in between the conference championship and the game on Sunday. So take the pressure off of Mahomes. You saw the gameplay they did against Cincinnati in the conference championship game. Let's see if they can do the same thing here on the defensive end for Kansas City. Can it be disciplined enough to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket so Jalen Hurts won't be running all over them all day? Because if that happens, it's going to be a long day for the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
What about you, Christine?
I'd say the same thing. Just run the football at Kansas City. And then for the Eagles, you got to find a way to take down Jalen Hurts. Once you get past the offensive line, because that's their strongest benefit, then it's pretty much open season. So for Jalen Hurts, he has to run the football too if he doesn't want to get hit himself.
Yeah, see, for me, I feel the same way. But I think it's going to be the defense. I think the defense are going to kind of set the tone early. Which defense can make that big play to kind of break the game open? These are two very evenly matched teams. I know that Chris Jones, that's he was right up there with Defensive Player of the Year honors last night. I think he's going to make a couple of big plays. I think Fletcher Cox, for the Eagles, going to make a couple of big plays as well. You got the Kelsey Bowl, of course, Travis versus Jason. Of course, this is actually also the first matchup between two black quarterbacks, which is pretty awesome, especially in Black History Month.
Those have been black quarterbacks, Lakina.
Yeah, right. I know, right? I mean, I know that's not either.
There's a Doug Williams reference for those young folks that don't know. Go look it up.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I mean, look, all that aside, though, I mean, I think this is definitely going to be the defense going to be kind of like the key to the game. Of course, Frank Clark, another guy as well on the defensive side for them. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, of course, the secondary guy for the Eagles. So to me, I think it's going to be about the defenses. I think this is going to be kind of like the game where who can get to the Pat Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, who can kind of force that turnover, force a fumble and stuff. So this could be one of those high-scoring affairs, I think, and I think that might be a good thing if you're a football fan. So yeah, if you're a Fox, that's probably what you want. So this should be a really good game, nonetheless.
Do you guys expect special teams to be a factor here? I'll start with you, Christine.
And that's the question that everyone always asks every year, I think, with the Super Bowl. No, I don't think it's going to be a factor. I'll be shocked if it is, because I can't remember the last time that they were a factor in a Super Bowl game, but that doesn't mean that they're not important in the, in the game plan or just in the team in general.
Yeah, I think unless someone does something stupid and fumbles. I know Scanlon did that a couple of times this year.
Yeah.
But I think pin the guy deeper. So could the punters be a factor here? I mean, I don't know. Could it come down to a kick? Will it come down to a Harrison Buckner? I got to figure out who the kicker for the Eagles is. But it's going to be between a kicker. So I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. No, but it's sort of one of those things where anything can happen. This is definitely a pick 'em and a toss up. So, who knows?
Yeah, as of right now, Philadelphia is favored by the 4.5. So it's basically at a pick 'em, like we said before. These are two evenly matched teams. Both quarterbacks are a little gimpy, but who's going to be healthiest? Who's going to make the big play at the end? You want to get into the prop bets, Lakina? Because I got a few of them here. Maybe not as many as you have on your cheat sheet, but I have a few here if you want to get started.
Yeah, sure. Of course, Jake Elliott, of course, the veteran kicker for them. So could it be Harrison Buckner, Jake Elliott, a field goal, one that could end up winning it all? I mean, we've seen it happen before with out of Vinatieri. So
I think Jake Elliott's from the Chicago area, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he is. Yes, I believe he is. Just from outside right now, but there's some really absurd ones.
Yes. These are just some of the basic ones. I'll start off with the first one. Number one, the length of the national anthem in seconds. Over 121.5 seconds or under 121.5 seconds. Christine, I'll start with you.
What's that in time?
Yeah, they just have seconds here.
No, it's 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes. So Chris Stapleton, of course, the award, Grammy Award winning soul country singer, will be doing the national anthem. Yeah, the over-under is about 2 minutes. So I think I'm looking at a site here that has the under is at 2:05. So he's a very he has a very deep voice. I'm talking about Chris Stapleton. You guys ever heard him sing? So
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think it'll probably be maybe just a tad over. I might even push it, but I think it might be a tad over. Christine, what do you think?
I was going to say the same thing because first of all, Chris Stapleton is great in concert.
Yes, he
like
is.
seriously, phenomenal. If you haven't seen him before, it depends on the type of performance he wants to give. He can either really draw it out, especially with his guitar, or he can just keep it short and sweet. So I think since he's on a national stage, I'm going to go that he'll go a little bit over 2 minutes.
I'll take your expertise, Christine. I think he'll go over. Will the coin toss be heads or tails? I think this is simple. I'll go with heads.
I'm going with tails just because.
Okay.
Well, I think the last couple of times that I guess whoever won the coin toss and win the game, I thought I saw that somewhere. So I'll say tails because I think it was heads last year. So I'm gonna take tails. I think.
Okay. The first offensive play will be run or pass attempt.
Oh, good Lord! I mean, it depends on who gets the ball first.
Right.
So could it be like a quarterback run? I mean, I know both QBs are still a little bit gimpy, but could it be? Are they say that quarterback run? Maybe does that count?
It just says run or pass attempt.
Okay, so
I think it'll be a run. So
I'll say a run.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, your weather's not going to be a factor because they're indoors. They're in Arizona, so the weather won't be an issue. So, I mean, that's kind of like crazy. Yeah. So I think it'll be a run too. I think just kind of get the nerves out the way.
Okay, I won't go through the whole list. I'll just go through some of the important ones. Which team will score first, Kansas City or Philadelphia? I'm gonna surprise you guys. I'll go with Philadelphia.
I was gonna go Philadelphia too. Yeah.
Okay.
Me too. Right. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's gonna be a score, whether it's a touchdown or a Jake Elliott field goal. I think that's gonna be. Yeah, I think they're gonna score first.
All right. The first turnover of the game will be fumble, interception, or turnover on downs. Yeah, pick one of the three. Interception, Christine. Okay, Lakina.
Agree. I think it's gonna be an interception. I think these two guys rarely fumble. These two teams rarely fumble. So I agree. I think it's gonna be an interception if there is a turnover.
I'll be different. I'll take fumble. Of course, singer Rihanna will perform at the halftime show presented by Apple. Presented by Apple Music. Which song will she? Which song will she perform first? Umbrella, We Found Love, Where Have You Been, What's My Name, or Other? Christine, I'll start with you.
Where have you been? Seriously, it's been 7 years. Yeah, I think she's gonna go with that one.
Okay, Lakina.
See, I think I'm gonna go with Umbrella. I think that was her first big mainstream hit, so that's how she bursts onto the scene. So I think it's gonna be Umbrella.
I'll go with Umbrella as well. Now, the second part to the question, will anyone accompany Rihanna on stage to perform a song with her? Yes or no? I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Gee, I hope so.
Yeah, I say yes too, because there's always, I know that next one's going to be like, will Jay-Z make an appearance? Minus 150. that's the odds.
I can see that because he was, I know this is unrelated a little bit, but he was at LeBron James's game when he broke the record the other night. So he's been seen in public this week. So not saying he can't go to the game on Sunday, but I would bet that Jay-Z will make an appearance.
I think Drake, I was going to say, I think Drake could make an appearance too, because he's done a couple of songs with Rihanna. I also think Eminem could have a chance. I know he was just in the Super Bowl performance last year, but again, she has Love the Way You Lie with him, and that's one of her popular songs. And look, it's hard to top last year because last year was great. Even when you had all those big names up there, they had 50 Cent come out, nobody knew that 50 Cent was going to be there. So it will be interesting to see what direction they kind of take with Rihanna's performance.
I know our guy Lamont Scott comments via our Facebook page. He says Rihanna wardrobe malfunction, and the Other will be the first song, and Jay-Z signed her to her first Def Jam deal. That's right. So we'll see what happens on that. And one more Rihanna prop bet here. How many songs will be played during the halftime show? Over 9.5 songs or under 9.5 songs? Christine, I'll start with you.
I'll go because the rumor is that after this performance, she's going to go on the road. She's going back on tour after 7 years of really not doing anything. So I think she wants to keep a little element of surprise a little bit, but at the same time, it depends on who she brings on too. So whether it's her songs or Is that what it is? Is it her songs, or if she brings someone out, or is it just like combined?
It's just it says how many songs total will be played during the halftime show.
It's combined. Yeah.
I'm gonna go over 9 just in case she does bring someone out with her. But if anything, it's gonna be like 10. Maybe she'll go over it by like 1 or something, you know?
Okay, Akina?
I'll say over, just a little bit over. I think 10, because it's about like a 7 or 8 minute. We're talking about 7 or 8 minute like halftime, show or something like that. So
those halftime shows are about a half hour, so
a half hour maybe. Oh well, you got the setup and everything else. So we're talking about a 15, 20 minute like halftime show. So I'd probably say over as well. But it's probably gonna be like mostly her old stuff. Maybe like one song from like a new album or whatever she got coming out.
Yeah, I'll say over 9 as well. Buddy Lamont Scott says under 9. Okay, which quarterback will have the most passing yards? Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, or other? I'll say Patrick Mahomes.
There's the category. That's cute.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they gotta get the parlays there, I guess.
Yeah, Chad Henne will pass for 400 yards and Mahomes gets hurt.
I'll go with Mahomes.
Joking, of course, joking. We don't know about get hurt in the game. But.
Yeah, I was like, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'll take Mahomes. I think he'll probably get a little bit over Hurts. I think Hurts going to use his feet more, I think.
Yeah, and will either team score during the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter? Yes or no?
Yes, I say yes.
Okay.
I think it's going to come down to the wire, I think. Yeah, so I say yes, too.
Okay. Just a couple more. Will the combined total points for the game be over or under 49.5? I'll say over.
Oh, I say over. Oh, really? You think it's going to be like a defensive affair, I think? You think, Christine?
I'm gonna go if it's an evenly matched team and with a strong offensive line like the Eagles have. I'm going with the under.
Okay. All right. I could definitely see that. Kelsey brother mentions that's another one. 1.5. See, the over is 1.5. So what do you guys think?
Over. Christine?
Over.
Okay.
All right. Let's see some of the other odds. So the odds for MVP, of course, the quarterbacks, of course, those smaller odds. I think 125 for Hurts and 130 for Mahomes. The non-QBs, of course, Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, Hassan Reddick, Chris Jones, of course, the defensive guys, Juju Smith-Schuster, Valdez Scantling, who's a little bit banged up as well. So, a couple of long shots if you guys want to go there. Frank Clark, Darius Slay. So who do you think is it going to be a QB or not? You guys don't have to say it yet because we're not going to do our picks yet. But do you think it's going to be the MVP is going to be a quarterback or a non-quarterback?
I'll say a non-quarterback. I'll give you my couple of surprises names in just a moment. But I'll say non-quarterback.
I'm going to go the same too, because you don't know what Hurts is going to do. You don't know what Mahomes is going to do. So it's kind of up in the air right now.
All right. Going back to Rihanna, the hair color, I guess they're saying it's going to be black or brown is the favorite at minus 350.
Black.
It'll probably be a dark color. I'm sure these other prop bets out. I know that like the Heineken, that's all the commercials have already been like released and some on YouTube and such. So I guess will there be like more Heineken commercials or Budweiser commercials? I think I've seen some of that right around. So what do you guys think?
I'm gonna say Budweiser because they just had 4 new baby colts, so they want to really promote those babies.
I agree, Christine. Over.
Over, my goodness. Okay, over, my goodness. Okay, I think I got a couple more here as that goes out. Let's see here. I know I've seen some of the wackier ones here as well. So I'm going to try to get that up real quick before we do our picks and such. So
someone should have a bet to see how many times Donna Kelsey's going to be on TV. Is that an option?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah. I'm sure there is going to be like, I'm sure there is out there. I think the over under is like 4. I think I thought I saw that somewhere. It's gonna like the shots of Donna kills, of course, Travis and Jason's mother. I think the over under is like 3 or 4. I think I see in some spots depending on where you're betting at. So what do you guys think? Over or under, or what? I think 3.5, 4. I think is the number.
I'm gonna say slightly under. Slightly under.
Man, I'm gonna go over. I think they're really gonna milk it a little bit.
And if the Gatorade's up, I think blue is the odds, the Gatorade color. I think blue is the odds, followed by, of course, yellow and green. So what do you guys say is going to be the color of the Gatorade that's going to be dumped on the coach or the coordinator?
That's going to give away who's we think is going to win the game. But
the color of the Gatorade.
I'm trying to think what a color it was last year. Was it blue?
I forgot. I don't know. I was like, I forgot. Was it yellow? I think I'm trying to picture.
I forgot last year. I know the Rams won it last year, but I forgot the color of the Gatorade.
I forgot. I think it was.
I forgot it too.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was yellow. So yeah.
I think I'm gonna go blue. I went purple last year just for the heck of it, but I think I'm gonna go blue. But I'll be darned if it's purple this year.
Right. Purple. Totally, yeah. Well, I mean, red. Well, I mean, look, red and green make purple. So, why? Why not? There you go. Your fiery colors. Yeah, I'll go with the yellow. I think you got to go with the classic color. I guess, but yeah. Oh yeah, the millions of viewers. I think I saw the over under is like 93 million viewers for the Super Bowl. Total viewers for the Super Bowl. So, do you take?
I think it'll be over.
It'll be over just because of Rihanna. Like you already know a lot of people are just watching it to see Riri.
Probably so, yeah. Yeah, that's probably true about that. So
I'm assuming that's the numbers combined with the streaming too, Lakina?
Yes. I'm not sure, but I think it's just for the TV viewers, but it might be combined with the streaming as well.
Yeah, because I know it's been pushed. If combining the streaming is close to 100 million over the last couple of years. So especially now, people streaming the games as well, not just watching it on linear television. So I say over 93.
Yeah, I think the last year I think actually did pretty well too. So I'm really interested to see what happens there, but. I'm trying to see the show that aired. I forgot to see what show is going to be airing like after the Super Bowl. I know it's on Fox. Is it The Masked Singer?
Yeah, I think
I'll check real quick.
Yeah,
this is live, folks. This is live, not pre-recorded, so your stream is going to be checking.
I think it's either Master Chef with Gordon Ramsay, a new season of that, or The Masked Singer. I think it's not a scripted series.
It's Next Level Chef and Next Level Welcome.
Okay, so that so that's a new show from Gordon Ramsay. So so I'm interested to see how that does in the ratings. I know some shows tend to do better than others, when the post Super Bowl slot. So we'll see. But that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be on Fox this year. I know that of course, Kevin Burkhardt, of course, Greg Olsen. I know Kevin Burkhardt has done a couple of Super Bowls on the international feed. I think he's actually done pretty well there. Of course, it'll be Greg Olsen's first Super Bowl. How do you guys think they're gonna do?
I think they'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I think so too. This is Greg's time to shine. If anything, now that Tom Brady is all of a sudden on the table, so he's gonna step it up, I think.
Oh yeah, I totally agree there. So let me see what else. I think that's about it for the absurd prop bets. I know Sid already did the basic prop bets, but yeah, some of the absurd ones. I think some of the commercials, I guess, which some people already kind of see is which commercials are always going to be probably the most ranked commercials. Like I said, some have already been released on YouTube and such. I know there was a T-Mobile one with Donald Faison, Zach Braff, and I think John Travolta this year too. I know there's a Clueless one with I forgot. I think it's one with the insurance company with Alicia Silverstone, Alicia Diamond from Clueless. Remaking that a scene from that.
And Gronk is gonna make he's gonna make a field goal for Fandango.
Yeah, I saw that too. So we might see a lot of prop, like I said, Fandango, of course, DraftKings, and with Kevin Hart. I know there's another one with them. So Yeah, so there's gonna be a whole lot. You're gonna be
I
inundated
just
with a lot
want
of
the Eagles. I just want him to run on the field to see what happens. I just want that moment again.
Absolutely.
That could happen. If he's there, that could happen.
Oh,
That could happen.
All right, it is hilarious. So, anything you guys want to sort of talk about before we make our official pick?
I just hope we get a good game. I really do. I know some people are talking about it's going to be a defensive struggle. I want a good game. I hope it doesn't come down to the Super Bowl back in 2018, the Super Bowl that no one wanted. That was between New England and the Rams in Atlanta. I know New England won 13-3, but that was one of the worst Super Bowls I ever watched. I know when we were growing up, Lakina, we had blowouts until the Denver Green Bay one in following the 97 season. John Elway got his first of 2 Super Bowls, and then we got some classics after that. But I hope this is a very good game on Sunday, especially with history being made with the Kelsey brothers and 2 African-American quarterbacks facing each other. I hope we get a great game. I know I cannot stand Philadelphia and Philadelphia's fans, but I really do not have any hatred between these teams. So I'm really hoping for a good game.
Christy, what do you think?
Same here. I mean, gosh, I remember watching. I just moved out to South Dakota during that game, and Lord, was that Rams Patriots game so bad. I mean, my gosh, like it was just awful. I mean, great for Tom Brady, obviously, but it was just overall awful, just to see that beat down. So yeah, I'm hoping for at least a little bit of competition on the field.
Yeah, the Rams could have won that one, but Brandon Cooks dropped 2 touchdowns, so
yeah, it's definitely, I'm kind of like right there in that mindset. I hope we get a good one. I hope it comes down to the wire. Last team with the ball wins. It comes down to a touchdown or a field goal and such. Yeah, I'm hoping for a really good game because I was telling my beautician yesterday that she wants to make a couple of pets, so that's why we're doing some of this pets. Oh yeah, she's right there. She's on it too. So yeah, of course, it's all for entertainment purposes only. This is only for like a little tips here. So don't take them at face value when we do our picks here in a minute or two. But I'm hoping for a good one. So let's do our picks. I'm gonna just get mine out the way. I'm gonna say the Eagles. I've been saying it all week to various friends and other folks. So I think this is Jalen Hurts' time to shine. Because remember, he was benched in that college football playoff championship game too with Tua. So we talked about it with Randy Cross, 3-time Super Bowl champion. You can check that out on YouTube from Monday's show and of course on Facebook. But yeah, I think this is time to shine. I think I'll go with a safe bet and pick him as MVP. Although I think the defense will be right there. I think Hassan Reddick. I think he'll definitely have a big case as well.
I'm going with the Eagles too. I'm cheering for the Chiefs just because they're kind of the favorite team around here in South Dakota. But I know I think it's going to be the Eagles. They've just been more consistent throughout the season, and the Chiefs just got this second wind. So we'll see who can handle it.
I'm going Kansas City 25, Philadelphia 33. A.J. Brown or Miles Sanders will be your MVP.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that too. I mean, yeah. So, I think I'm just hoping for a great game. I think we all want. So, and that is our Super Bowl picks and prop bets and such. Of course, maybe right there for you. Of course, our buddy Lamar. Oh, he's got a pretty high scoring game, 31-28. So that could happen.
Almost like my score. So yeah, yes. we'll see what happens.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there. So yeah, this is Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown, and KXRB's Christine Manika joining us as usual.
Yes, I know we have a few minutes left, Lakina, but I want to get Christine's. I want to give her a survey that was released by The Athletic over the weekend regarding the Chicago White Sox. I won't go through all of them, but I'll go through some of them. So it's a multiple choice questionnaire, Christine. So you answer it, and we'll give you the results that the fans said. This is from the White Sox writer James Field of The Athletic. You ready?
Sure. Hold on a second. Before that, happy birthday to Liam Hendricks. It's his birthday today.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, happy birthday
to him, and hopefully his treatment's going well.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're here for you, Leo.
Yes. Amen to that. All right, Christine, this is the questionnaire that White Sox writer James Fugit did with the White Sox fans last weekend over at The Athletic. Please subscribe to Athletic. They have great sports content over there. And so check it out. All right, so here's some of the questions that I'll ask Christine. We'll give the top answer that the fans voted. What's your opinion of team chairman Jerry Reinsdorf? He's doing great. I'm satisfied. I'm not satisfied, or I want change.
That's well, if we're going on the last couple of years, I'd say I'm satisfied. I'm not totally thrilled, but I'm satisfied for the most part, because let's think about it this way. 2020, they weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden they got in the playoffs. And look, the last couple of seasons have been kind of disappointing, I'd say. But it shows with the moves that they've made in the offseason, whether it was this year or the year before that, shows that they're willing to compete and they want to win. So I'm satisfied, but I'm not too thrilled about what could happen going forward.
Okay, 72.3% of the fans said they want change. And your answer is that you said I'm satisfied. 4.8% of fans said they're satisfied.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's brutal.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Come on, it's not that bad. It's not like after 2005 where they just kind of tanked for a couple of years.
Which of the areas needs the most improvement? Team budget, team culture, or fan experience?
I think they do a great job on fan experience, so that's definitely a no. I think the budget, definitely the budget. And here's why I say that, because they could have had Manny Machado a couple of years ago. I think that's who they were trying to get a couple of years ago. And Kenny Williams, he doesn't normally do interviews, but he actually did during spring training for that one. And once it came out a couple weeks later, they actually did give out a good offer, but it wasn't high enough, and they weren't willing to go that extra mile to get a guy like Manny Machado. So I would say the budget.
And that's what 85% of the fans voted on that post said they need to improve on the team budget. What's your opinion of General Manager Rick Hahn's job performance? He's doing great. I'm satisfied. I'm not satisfied. I want change.
Again, I'm going to go with the whole satisfied. I'm not totally thrilled because they had, the Johnny Cash sound-alike guy, Tony. They had
Johnny Cash sound-alike.
That was the first thing that my grandpa told me. He's like, gee, he sounds a whole heck of a lot like Johnny Cash. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that was the best hire out there. But we've moved on from that. So again, I'm satisfied, but I'm not entirely thrilled with all the decisions that he's made.
Yeah, but remember, Rick Hahn didn't hire Tony La Russa. That was Jerry Reinsdorf's call.
Yeah, exactly. But Rick decided to go with it without putting up a fight. So it takes two for that one, I think.
Good point. Yeah, your answer, Christine, you're satisfied with Rick Hahn's job performance. 13.2% of the fans voted for that answer, but most of the fans, 54% of them, said that they're not satisfied with the GM, especially after what happened last year, missing the playoffs at 81-81. What is the greatest weakness of the current team? Depth, injury frequency, team defense, lack of power, all the above, or other?
I'm going to go other and say the other for me is leadership. And I say that because I would say that because Jose Abreu was a huge part of that roster, a huge part of that team. And the fact that they let him get away and go to the Astros, I mean, good for Jose for going on to his next chapter in his career. But it would have been great if he would have ended up like one of those lifelong White Sox players that just spent their entire career with the team. So I definitely think leadership.
Okay.
Other category.
Okay. Other received 6.6% of the vote. Most of the fans voted depth. That's the backups of the roster. That's 38.3%. Okay. What's your just a couple of questions here? I know we're about to close up shop. What are your expectations this season for the White Sox? World Series or else? Winning the playoff series? In the race until the end? slash cracking the playoffs, more mediocrity, or selling at the trade deadline? Which means they're going to be. Do you expect them to be bad?
Yeah. So I at least want to get them past the first round of playoffs. So if there's a category for that, I'm all for it because they do great.
That's winning the playoff series.
Well, yeah. So I would say
Okay.
at least get through the playoffs because they didn't even have a chance when they faced the Astros. It was painful to watch.
Winning the playoff series received 16.8% of the vote. Most of the fans think there's going to be more mediocrity this season. 46.8% of the fans voted there. A couple more questions here. What did you think of the Pedro Grifol hire? Of course, he's the new White Sox manager for those who've been sleeping on the job. I am optimistic that he's the right choice. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm skeptical, or I was hoping for someone else.
So if this was if you were asking me with Tony, I'd say the last two for sure. I'm skeptical, and this is not a good hire. Should have picked someone else. With Pedro, I am very optimistic with him. I think he's a breath of fresh air. He's only in his 50s. He relates to the guys on a different level. He speaks fluent Spanish, and Tony couldn't get that message across to some of those players on the team. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've had maybe it was Ventura, but I don't think we've had someone get to that level of, communicating with them in a different language. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
Ozzy.
I think Ozzy was probably the last guy.
After Ozzy.
Before Ozzy.
Yeah, so after Ozzy, I don't think has been anybody on the team like that in a while. So I think it's going to bring a different amount of energy to the clubhouse.
So you said you're very optimistic, correct?
I'm
Kristen?
very optimistic. Yeah.
Okay, I'm optimistic that he's the right choice. It's 21.1% of the fans voted there, but most of the fans, 62.2% of them said they're cautiously optimistic. And let's see if I can find one more question before we close our shop. I think you're going to like this question. Which one of these young White Sox players will have the best career? Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, Dylan Cease, Michael Kopech, Gavin Sheets, Garrett Crochet, Davis Martin, or other?
I think you already know my answer to this one. I preached about it all year last season, and people thought I was crazy that he was going to be a great pitcher, but look where he is now.
Yeah, she says Dylan Cease, and 54% of fans voted for Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
I know we're running out of time, but I promise this is the last question. Who is your favorite current White Sox player? Tim Anderson, Dylan Cease, Luis Robert, Liam Hendricks, Eloy Jimenez, Andrew Vaughn, Lance Lynn, Yohan Makata, Lucas Giolito, Michael Kopech, or other?
It's definitely Liam Hendricks. He just brings a different energy. He's a great team player. He's a great closer. I said this when we first heard the news about him. I still think he is one of the best closing pitchers since Bobby Jenks. We have not had anybody like him in a long time, and he just brings a different energy to the field. I mean, come on, the guy gets his own light show when he comes out to the mound. How cool is that?
Yeah, Liam Hendricks got 12.3% of the vote. It was a close vote between Tim Anderson and Dylan Cease, but Tim Anderson got 26% of the vote, followed by Dylan Cease, 22.6% of the vote. All right, so those are the questions I wanted to ask you, Christine. For those of you that subscribe to The Athletic, just go to theathletic.com, find the White Sox content. James Fegan what is the writer for the White Sox over there. In this fans-based survey that he did last week, is the results are posted up in his column, so go check it out there.
All right, so going back to a little NBA for a second here. Apparently, I guess this is according to Chris Hayes from TNT. He's reporting that I guess Russell Westbrook is expecting to decide between the Bulls and the Heat. If you go by what he is saying,
no Clippers.
Well, no, that's
Utah.
what. Yeah, well, no, he's been traded to Utah, but he's gonna get bought out at Utah. That's the expectation. So that's why. Yeah, so hits the Heat and the Bulls, and of course he coached for Billy Donovan coached for a couple of years before he left. So OKC, I should say. So a couple other names I think the Bulls could probably use on the trade market. I saw Serge Ibaka being floated around there. Maybe a Danny Green, perhaps. John Wall. So yeah, some of the names that the Bulls probably could. Well, I know Pat Bev's name, but I doubt it's gonna. The Bulls already.
That's what it
going
should
through a
be, but it's not
disaster.
going to. The Bulls are not going to get him.
Yeah, you would think that would be a perfect fit since he's from here, but I don't think that's going to happen. Of course, they could probably have to move some guys around and such. They may have to release some guys and perhaps maybe send some of the guys over to the Windy City Bulls, the G League team. So, what do you guys say real quick about that?
I mean, first of all, I am probably one of the many people who were livid when they heard that Kyrie requested a trade from the Nets after all the garbage that organization went through with him. I mean, talk about ungrateful and just selfish. That I almost threw up when I heard that. Like, wow.
I know you rolled your eyes last week when we broke the news.
Yeah.
Gosh, just disgusting. Like, I can't even believe it. If I was a Nets owner, I'd be screaming and kicking and throwing computers everywhere. Seriously.
Because she must have been listening to the fan all week, Lakina, or 98.7 ESPN NYC.
Seriously, because if I was an owner, I'd be like, after all the S that I put up with you, just to keep you, I could have gotten rid of you months ago, and now you want to trade? Oh my gosh! What was your question before I went off on a tangent?
No. Just so that if any of those buyout guys the Bulls should go after, do you guys want Westbrook, Danny Green, Pat Bev, John Wall, so the other names that are probably going to be out there in the buyout market?
It's so tough because Westbrook is going to be 35. He's 34 right now, something like that. He's getting up there. And the Bulls, unfortunately, have a history of getting, players past their prime. I'll say it like that. And I'm shocked that they didn't try to do anything before the trade deadline, just because there were a lot of rumors. There was a lot of theories that DeMar DeRozan would have been the one to go because he's at the top of his game. He's had a great season and his value is pretty high right now. So I'm more shocked about them not really doing anything. Why that reason is, I don't know. Sounds like that could be a Jerry problem too. He's juggling too many teams. So I don't know, but I guess Danny Green. If I were to pick anybody who still has a little bit more game in left, I'd go probably Danny Green.
He is a shooter, Lakina, but how much he's going to play if the Bulls sign him, I don't know. But real quick, I know we got to close up shop. Lakina, I don't know if you caught AK's press conference yesterday before the game against Brooklyn.
I saw
that. I know we didn't talk about this at the top of the show, but him and the whoever runs to Isaiah Ujiri, they both said that since Kevin Durant was traded to Phoenix the other day, they felt like the East was open. So both of them, both those franchises felt like they did not need to make a move. I say, you expect others to do your work for you. You're playing yourself.
Phoenix
That's all I need to hear right there.
Miami Heat. That's what's happening. Phoenix is now the Miami Heat of the LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade era. They're stacked.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can, we'll see. We probably won't see KD again, in a Phoenix uniform until after the All-Star break, very likely. So I'm wondering, I'm sure he and Book and CP3 will get along pretty well. I don't think that'll be a problem. But I know Monty Williams is a great coach. He's proven that he can handle, guys, stars and such. So could this be, could they end up win the West? We'll see. I mean, they're still right there in the top 5 of everything they've been through, with Book being out all those months. So it'll be interesting. But look, as for the Bulls, I think they'll try to get somebody from the buyout market, whether it's Westbrook or Bev or Danny Green or John Wall. I think they'll get somebody. Will it satisfy Bulls fans? Probably not. But I think look, I think the
Nothing
East
ever
will be.
does.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'll be easier with the Bucks and the Celtics. Other than in the Sixers, other than those three, I think the East is pretty much wide open. Remember, the Cavs didn't really do it. Yeah, and the Cavs didn't do anything either. People forget. So I think they need another shoe. That might come back to bite them. But so we'll have to wait and see. But on that note, you follow me at Kingdom McGee on the Twitter and at Kingdom McGee on the IG.
You can follow yours Shirley Sydney Brown on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80. Christine, where can the lovely people follow you on social media?
They can follow me at @Manika_KXRB.
All right. Of course, you can watch this show anytime you want on, of course, on Sports on Chicago's Facebook page, on the YouTube page as well. You can also check us out, the audio version on War Media. It's right there for you wherever you get your podcasts and such.
Listen to it all weekend, especially before the big game on Sunday. I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, especially Monday's show. It's up right now with our buddy Randy Cross. We're trying Super Bowl.
That too, yes.
Yeah, great insight too. So yeah, so if you haven't watched, you haven't listened to Monday's show, do that. Of course, you can watch it on YouTube as well. And of course, you can also watch Sports on Chicago on Roku TV.
Roku TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so if you got a Roku TV app on your smart TV, or you had the stick, precise Sports on Chicago right there on Roku, on the Roku app, on your phone, your tablet, your PC, your Chromebook, whatever device you got, it's all right there for you. Our show, Shauna and Maya. What's up, cuz? I know, the Smoke Fellas, I know they're going to have a great show coming up this weekend, previewing the big game, as Sid would say. So enjoy all the Super Bowl, fun and pomp and circumstances, such, all the 12-hour pregame shows.
Don't do these stupid extra Super Bowl parties, please.
Yes, don't overindulge and don't, over, serve yourself. I don't want you to put on presents, Sunday before President's Day. That way most folks would have been off, but it's a whole different topic. So enjoy also the college hoops and the NBA and the other soccer. And I think there's a golf tournament going on as well. So it's all, right there for you right before the Super Bowl too. So get all that over with. For Sid and Christine, I'm LaKen. This has been Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Love, peace, and hair grease. Fly, Eagles fly, I guess. Holla!